Florida in the 1950s. Florida governed very much as a deep South state. Long series of segregationist governors at that point, even in a state with the fastest growing population in the country and an increasingly diverse population, particularly getting more and more diverse all the time in Florida cities. That state in the 1950s was effectively run by hardline conservatives just from the rural parts of the state. Very, very conservative state in terms of its governance in the 50s. And in the 1950s, the most powerful politicians in the really hardcore conservative Florida state government, they decided that they were going to go after the NAACP. And they were going to make a big show of it. They were going to bring the power of the state government to bear on going after and exposing and running to ground the NAACP because they said the NAACP was a bunch of communists. The NAACP was, of course, at the time fighting for civil rights, fighting for desegregation, among other things. Florida conservatives in Florida state government at the time, they decided that this was Marxism, this was communism, and they were going to end that in the state of Florida using the power of the state government. And so in the 50s, they convened hearings in which they planned basically to harangue and make a public example out of some of these NAACP commies. And they called up NAACP members as their witnesses for these live hearings. And what survives on tape from that history, which we have the benefit of today, is that those NAACP witnesses were having none of it. They were not going to take this lying down. They were not going to be used for some political stunt. And when push came to shove and it was time to do those public hearings, they just ran rings around the politicians. They ran rings around this Florida Inquisition that was supposed to shut them down. Listen to this.
I protest against this committee. I think it's illegal. I think it's immoral. And I think it's indecent.
I was born and bred in Dade County. I am an American citizen. I believe in the heritage of America. I believe in the principles of the Constitution of the United States. I would not permit this committee or any other committee to intimidate me nor to deny me my lawful constitutional rights.
These poised, defiant witnesses, they seem to really flummox the Johns Committee and Charlie Johns himself.
I want to say that the way the witnesses defied our legislative committee when we was down at Miami was simply ridiculous. And I feel this committee should go back down there and call those witnesses before us to testify. And if they refuse, we should put them in jail and let them stay there.
We should put them in jail. They didn't cooperate with us at all. We should put them in jail. That sound from today's episode number 2 of my new podcast, Deja News. I promise I won't talk about this forever. There's only 6 episodes altogether of this series. I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with the way it came out. There's 6 episodes altogether. This second one just posted today, which is where that sound is from. You heard my co-host, Isaac Davy Aronson there, along with Pansy Flaum and Theodore Gibson from the Florida NAACP, and also the conservative Florida legislative leader, Charlie Johns, complaining so bad about these witnesses who had humiliated him at his own hearing. That was him at the end there. So the reason we just did a podcast about this, about the Florida Inquisitions in the 1950s and the 1960s, and those Inquisitions going so poorly for Florida state government conservatives who thought they were going to be great. The reason we just did this podcast about this time in history in Florida is because it does give you kind of a deja news feeling when you realize that this today is the most powerful guy in Florida, and he really is singing the same kind of tune.
That means we're required to wage a war on woke, and that's exactly what we are going to do. Woke, some people say, oh, I don't care about woke, I don't care about this. There's huge value in recognizing that this is a form of cultural Marxism. When woke ideology in the forms of things like ESG take over our economy, when woke ideology takes over our education system, when woke ideology takes over the criminal justice system. So woke ideology, the woke in the schools, the woke in the corporations, the woke in the halls of the Congress, surrender to the woke mob, woke ideology.
The man has a theme. The man has a theme, and he is sticking to it. That was Republican presidential contender and Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis showing off his rhetorical skills as a campaigner this weekend in Nevada. But this line, this constant iteration of the word woke and attacking all things he can call woke, this really is what he thinks is going to propel him to the White House. I will tell you right now, it did not work out that way for the last Florida politicians who tried to make a big Florida show out of attacking civil rights groups and attacking gay people and attacking schools and trying to make hot politics out of teachers' lessons plans. This has been tried before in that same state not that long ago, and it had a very unhappy political ending for the politicians who tried it. It, yes, worked for them for a little while, and they got very excited about that, and they thought they could ride it forever, but then it really crash landed when people decided they were sick of it. As we head into this new odd season of presidential nominating politics with the Republican Party's presidential frontrunner indicted and facing trial in 2 jurisdictions on more than 60 felonies combined, and maybe more to come, consider also that the runner-up to the frontrunner in Republican polling right now is really pitching his whole tent on this crusade against wokeness. While meanwhile, today in Florida, the NAACP, the same NAACP that ran rings around the last Florida politicians who tried to run this playbook in the 1950s, today, they launched a 5-day bus tour, a 5-day, 15-city bus tour in Florida on what they're calling the Stay Woke Tour. Stay Woke Florida. Funny, they don't think of that as an epithet. A rolling protest. They started off today rolling the Stay Woke bus into the state capitol in Tallahassee, and then they went on to Gainesville. They're going to hit 15 cities in Florida over the next 5 days. Again, they're calling it the Stay Woke Florida Tour from the NAACP. Just as Governor Ron DeSantis is traveling the country to all the early voting states, perhaps assuming that he doesn't have to ever become a good speaker if he can just keep waggling his finger at audiences like he's mad at them and saying the word woke over and over again, and that's all he'll need. That will do the trick for him. It's funny, not everybody hears that word the same way you do.